boys and girls, welcome back. I hope you had a great 3-day weekend. It's a marvelous Monday. So before we get started, remember that you want to have your laptop up and running, you want your workspace book, and you want something to write with, all right? Okay, so last week, let's review what we did last week. Last week we talked about circles and stars, so that if I rolled a number cube, can't find my number cube, oh, right here. Roll it. I got 5, that tells me how many equal groups. So that's how many groups I have. If I roll it again, I got 3, that will tell me how many stars to put in each group. And then, after we did circles and stars, we wrote equations to go along with our picture model. So in this case, I could do repeated addition and do 3. Remember, I said we could check them off as we went. Plus 3, plus another 3, plus 3, and plus 3. Checking, I have 5. And then I've got 6, plus 6, which we know is 12, plus 3 more would give me 15. Okay, there's a little glare on my board. All right, or we could write that as a multiplication equation. I have 5 groups of 3 stars, which would give me a total of 15 again. All right, and then remember we also talked about different ways to represent the total of 15. So let me just erase this really quickly. So different ways to get to 15. And remember we did our 4 square for that. So I'm just going to draw. Oops, that red doesn't show up so well. Let me use my black. So I just did 5 circles with 3 stars each. And that would be 5 times 3, 5 groups of 3 equals 15. I could also have one group with 15 stars in it, and that would be one group of 15 would equal 15. I could also have 3 groups with 5 in each, and that would be 3 groups of 5 equals 15. Can you see that? Or I could have 15 groups with 1 in each, and that equation would look a little bit different because it would be 15 groups of 1 star would equal 15. Okay, so in that case there are 4 different equations that would total 15. All right, fabulous. Then we looked at groups of things in the real world. So we talked about what comes in groups of 2, and we said eyes and hands and feet, and what comes in groups of 3, and we said wheels on a tricycle. Groups of 4, we said legs on animals. Okay, so we addressed all those things of things that naturally come in groups of objects. And then we read Amanda Bean's Amazing Dream, and we were looking for groups of objects in the book. So today we're going to revisit Amanda Bean and solve some problems that involve equal groups. Okay, so I'm going to turn to the first page here, our lollipop page. Just hold that up for you. Okay, and what do you notice about the lollipops? Tell me some things you notice. There's 4 of each color. There's 5 groups, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The blue one's over here. And there's 4 in each group. So how many lollipops in all? Well, we can write an addition equation to represent that. Okay, so let's go back to our addition equation. So I noticed there were 4 yellow lollipops. There are 4 green lollipops. 4 orange lollipops. 4 purple lollipops. And finally 4 blue lollipops. Okay, and then remember I can add those up. 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. That would give me 8. 4 and 4 is 8. That is 16 plus 4 more would give me a total of 20 lollipops. Okay, so now we can write a multiplication equation to match that. So how many total groups did we say there were? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 groups of 4 lollipops each, which would give us a total of 20 lollipops. All right, let's go to our next problem in Amanda Bean. Now I'm looking at the cakes in the showcase, right? So I'm going to look at a shelf is going to be a group. So this is one group of cakes on the first shelf. How many cakes on each shelf? 3. 3 cakes on each shelf, okay? So we're going to write that as an addition and multiplication equation. All right, so we're going to start with addition. So on the very first shelf, I have 3 cakes. On the next shelf, I have 3 cakes. And on the last shelf, I have 3 cakes. So 3 plus 3 is 6, and 3 more gives us 9. Okay. So now I'm going to write a multiplication equation for that. How many groups do I have? Well, that's going to be our shelves. 1, 2, 3 shelves. So I have 3 groups of 3 cakes, which also equals a total of 9 cakes. All right. The next problem that we're going to look at in Amanda Bean and her amazing dream is the cupboard picture. Okay, so here's the picture of the cupboard with all the jars. We're only going to look at the first row, and those are tea bags in that row. So I'm looking to see how many tea bags in each jar. And if you can see, there's 2. So first the addition equation. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups of that. So I'm going to do 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. And it's easy for us to skip count by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 total tea bags. If I wanted to write that as a multiplication equation, I'm going to look at how many jars I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 5 groups of 2 tea bags, which gives me a total of 10 tea bags. Okay, so now we're going to go in your workspace book and you're going to turn to page 15. 15. Let me write it up here. Okay, turn to page 15, and you can see that it says equal groups problems. This is what the page looks like. All right, so the directions say how many bug legs. So we're talking about groups of legs. So they give you the first one. There's 6 legs on any insect. So, and we have 4 insects. So we're going to do 6 plus 6 plus 6 equals 24. And then we can write that as 4 bugs with 6 legs each as a multiplication equation, and 4 times 6 equals 24. So that's what we're going to do at the bottom of the page with these 3 problems. Okay, so looking at the top problem on page 15, you're filling this in as we go along. How many tea bags? And you can see they color coded it for you. So there's a red arrow up by the tea bags. And then down at the bottom of the page, there's a red arrow to tell you that's the row. All right, so first we're going to write the addition equation. So there's 2 tea bags in each jar. You're writing this under number 1. And then we have to add that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times for the 5 jars that are there. So 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. We just did that one equals 10. On the line under that, you're going to write 5 jars or 5 groups of 2 tea bags equals 10 tea bags. Okay, so that's your answer for number 1. We already did that one. Let's go on to number 2. Again, you're writing in your workspace book as I go along. So olives. Okay, so olives are on the next row. Remember, it's color coordinated. So question 2, the blue arrow goes with the row 2. So I see 5 olives in a jar. And I'm going to count the jars. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's how many times I have to add 5. And 5. And then again, it's very easy for us to skip count by 5s. You guys have been doing it since kindergarten. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 olives. And then underneath that, we're going to write the multiplication equation. So 5 jars or 5 groups of 5 olives equals 25 olives. All right, and we'll do the last one on page 3. All right, number 3 on page 15, I mean. All right, how many pickles? That's the last row, the pickle jars. I can see that there's 3 pickles in a jar. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jars again. Remember, you're writing this in your workspace book. 3 plus 3 is 6. 3 plus 3 is 6. 6 plus 6 is 12. 13, 14, 15. And then I can also write that as a multiplication equation. There are 5 jars or equal groups of 3 pickles each, which equals a total of 15 pickles. Okay, go ahead and turn the page. And we're still working with equal groups problems. This one we're just going to have to read carefully. So now we've got sheep on bikes. Remember, we saw the sheep on the bikes in Amanda Bean's dream. So the directions say write the addition equation, write the multiplication equation in number and words. Okay, so this time we're going to have to add words. We've been saying the words, but we haven't been writing them. So how many wheels? Well, how many wheels are on one bike? 2 wheels on one bike. And then count up how many bikes you see. I counted 7. Did you get 7? Okay, good. Okay, that's a lot of 2s, so just go back and make sure you wrote 7 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And again, we can easily skip count by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 wheels. Okay. Now we need to write that as a multiplication equation. How many bikes did we say there were? There were 7 bikes with 2 wheels each, which gives us a total of 14. And we're just going to say that as 7 times 2 equals 14. Okay, so just replacing our symbols. I could have wrote equal there. We'll do it on the next one. All right, so one more I'm going to do with you, and then you're going to complete the last one on this page on your own. All right, so how many legs? Well, how many legs does a sheep have? That was on our list of items of becoming 4. So there's 4. We already said there's 7 bikes. So if there's a sheep on each bike, there's got to be 7 sheep. So we're going to repeatedly add 4 7 times. 4, 5, 6. Let me put one over here. 7. All right. So now I can combine 4s. That would be an 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 4. Okay. So now I might need to rewrite this as 8 and 8 is 16. Can you see? Let me put that down a little bit. Plus 8 and 4 is 12, which would give me a total of 28. Okay, and then on the next row, remember we're going to write that as a multiplication equation. Let me put it down just a little bit more. So we had 7 sheep, each with 4 legs, which equals 28. And we would write 7 times 4 equals 28. All right? So you're going to do that last problem on page 16 on your own. All right? That was lesson 8. We're going to move on to lesson 9 now. And this time we're going to be looking at not just equal groups, but rows of things. So, and if you remember in 3rd grade when you did arrays, that's basically what rows of equal groups are. All right, so let's go back to Amanda Bean. And now we're going to look at the baker tray. If you remember that part in the story. We're going to look at the top row of the baker tray. All right, so I want to see how many little chocolate cakes there are in one row. So I'm just going to count across one row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so we can represent this with tiles. Okay, so I could put those cakes in a row. You don't have tiles, so I'm just going to draw a picture so you can see exactly what I'm doing. And there are tiles available in your HMH Do the Math page. Okay, there's digital tiles. So I'm going to draw my first row represented by tiles. So there's 7 in my first row. Now I want to look at how many in my next row. 7 more in another row. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that. All right, so how many are in the first row? There's 7. How many in my second row? There's 7. So the addition equation would be 7 tiles plus 7 tiles equals 14 tiles. Now you could count those all up individually, or we could just do 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So how do I write that with multiplication? First I say how many rows I have. This is a row and this is a row. So I have 2 rows of 7 tiles each, which equals a total of 14 tiles. Okay, we're going to practice some more rows. I think we've got one more problem here. All right, so I'm gonna zoom in here because we're looking at the windows on the building, and I'm gonna look at this one right here with the trees on the top. So again, I've got 1 row of windows, 2 row of windows, and there's 4 in each row. Okay, so we're gonna rewrite that. I'm gonna go ahead and make 4 windows in 2 rows. There's 1 row of 4 windows. There's a second row of 4 windows. So first I can repeatedly add and say this is 4 windows plus 4 windows equals 8 windows. I see that? There's a glare from my computer. Or we could write that as a multiplication. Remember, I'm going to label my rows first. How many rows do I have? 1 row? 2 rows of 4 windows equals 8 windows. Okay. So now let's turn back to your workspace book, and this time we're going to turn to page 17. Page 17. Equal rows problems. So it says write the addition equation, exactly what we've been doing, and then the multiplication equation. All right, so we did how many windows in that picture? So let me draw the representation. I have 2 in a row, and I have 4 rows. Okay, so first I'm going to add 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. Two, 4, 6, 8. Sorry, this is page 17 in your workspace book. You can be writing this right along with me. Okay, now I'm going to look at rows. Remember, these are going across this way. How many rows do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 rows of 2 windows equals 8 windows. All right, just get that down in your books. All right, I'm going to move on to question 2. How many muffins? All right, so we're going to draw a representation of this with our tiles. So first I want to count the muffins on this page, how many are in a row, and I can see in 1 row there's 6 muffins. All right, and then I want to see how many rows of muffins there are. There's 1, 2, 3 rows. So I'm going to add 2 more rows to this. Okay, so first our addition equation. I've got 6 in a row, plus 6 in a row, plus 6 in a row, which equals 18. Or I can write the multiplication equation, and remember I'm writing rows first because those are my groups. This is a group of 6. So how many of those groups do I have, or rows? I've got 3 rows of 6 muffins for a total of 18 muffins. All right, so you are going to finish. Let me write this down for you. You are going to finish number 3 on page 16. You are going to finish page 17, number 3. And then for your teacher, you need to complete the show what you know on pages 18 and 19. Okay, just a few problems, not a lot. And it's everything we've already done. So you're also going to do page 18 and 19. And you want to make sure you're on the Teams meeting with your teachers so they can review your work. All right? Have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.
Bye.